I'm a big proponent of work hard, play hard, and give hard. And I strongly believe we all have a valuable legacy that should be shared with others and for those to come. This is a Limitless Legacy podcast where we talk everything on how to create, rule, and expand your legacy every day. I'm your host, Gianmarco Palazzo. You can just call me GM. And I am so excited to be here today talking about this topic that burns such a fire in me. And for years, I've been developing ideas and discovering my own process. I think one of the ideas that really moved me in the last years to focus more on my own legacy is that of the 3 deaths of Mexican culture. The first death being the moment in time when you're young and you realize that death exists and that eventually we are mortal. The second is when we physically pass on. And the third, and I think definitely by far the most mysterious to me, is when our name is mentioned for the very last time. I don't know about you, but that last one really hit me the first time, and actually every time I repeat it or go over that concept in my head, it just totally extends at least my concept of what our impact on this earth can be and what we can do with the precious time we have while we are all here. Anytime we have finality around us is just an acute reminder of how fragile and fleeting lifespan is. Personally, I lost my father around 24. I was just kicking off my entrepreneurial journey. I was actually living with him at the time, just the two of us. And there were so many lessons, experiences, and unique abilities I would have loved to have absorbed from him. And, it just didn't happen. I mean, there were certain lessons and stories that we had, but there was always something missing. Once a loved one passes on, there's so much emptiness there and what could have been. I think also the whole COVID pandemic has also brought this to the forefront, and it drove many people to change lifestyles and focus more on their time and their quality of life. Most of the world, with the billions and billions of people in the world, are unfortunately focused on surviving day to day due to the massive amounts of poverty and basic needs that are lacking. It leaves little time and energy to contemplate a bit of our existence. But however many of those, and maybe they have more time than we do who live a modern and agitated life. But to those of us who are blessed that we don't have to figure out our daily survival, are we taking those moments to contemplate that existence and really maximize that consideration of why we're here? Or are we like so many people that go around like what I like to call human cattle? I mean, really just being guided down from one place to the next, from being totally reactive, being consumer driven and focused, and not really controlling who you are or what your thoughts are, rather than deciding on what you will create, how you will rule the process of your lifetime, and how to eventually expand your growth, your opportunities, your results, your life, your impact, your legacy. This precious time we have, I don't know about you, but I sometimes, a couple times a month, I ask myself, we never know when our last 24 hours will be. And I know you guys are listening to me right now and you're like, what, is this guy only about death or what? No, actually, Limitless Legacy is all about living today and how you can bring that legacy to be more vibrant, and so that our impact can be greater for those around us, for those we love, for those we don't even know. if you wake up tomorrow and you are that lucky person, you have that day, you have those 24 hours for you. Many people go to bed and just don't wake up. And I don't know about you, but I don't know when my last day will be. Do you know when your last day will be? If you do, wow. Well, lucky you, you know a lot of things in life that most people don't. And if you did, what would you do with it? How would you live? Who would you spend your time with? How would you show up with those people? So many times I ask myself, why waste life being not productive? Or if you're not being productive, well, at least be intentional about not being productive with your rest and recreation or your vacation. I consider rest and recreation vacation, if it's intentional and it's focused, it is extremely productive. Just the other day, I was with one of my forums. A forum is a group of peers who in confidentiality meet once a month or so as a personal sort of board of directors, sharing challenges and wins. And we did an icebreaker, and the icebreaker was, if I would have been 10 times bolder, I would have ... in the past. And if I would be 10 times bolder, I would ... in the future. So ask yourself, what would you have done, or what would you have done differently if you would have been 10 times bolder? For me, I love to travel, and I think that, it's a huge blessing to be able to get to know the world. And I know that as a young kid, mostly as a high schooler, a couple times my dad offered me some trips. And, I was a real punk at the time, I guess. And, he offered me to go to Italy for the first time ever. We're Italian heritage. We're fifth generation here. And I've always loved Italy and the whole Italian culture and wanted to learn Italian and all that. And when my dad offered me that trip, he's like, let's go for a week. I said, a week to make all that trip first, just for a week trip? I said, no, I'd rather stay, hang out, play video games, and hang out with my friends. Stupid decisions like that as a youth, as a kid, and maybe not searching for those opportunities of studying abroad, or those opportunities that, few people have to really take advantage. What would I do if I were 10 times bolder? I think about regrets. What are your regrets of the past? What are your regrets that are inkling inside of you now, that bother you, that haunt you, that shadow you? Where are they creeping up on you now? And when I think of myself, how I would be 10 times bolder in the future, it's living without regrets. What does that mean? Telling the person that you love them when it's uncomfortable to do so. Trying that project, whether it's, difficult and it's time consuming and it's even a little distracting, but it's burning inside of you. Where are we going to leave those regrets to the side? Because we don't want to get to that last day, to that deathbed. And the deathbed isn't about, what you accomplished. It's about how you spent the time with yourself, being honest, congruent, really trying to live that limitless legacy and sharing those quality moments with those people you loved. So where are you going to be bolder? Where are you going to leave those regrets aside? And where are you going to focus on living that limitless legacy? The other question I had for you guys today is, what's your mantra or word for the year? Last year, my mantra was yes to everything. A little crazy. Those of you who know me know I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I love starting projects, and that's sort of the cross I carry. That's sort of the burden I carry. I'm a great starter. I'm working on becoming a great finisher, but it's difficult. And so I said yes to everything. I said yes to a lot of projects, and I moved them along. And today, some of those are colder, others are warmer, and others are hot. And I just had a lot of balls in the air, and I gave time and resources and focus and strategy to each one of those. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying that's what I did last year, and I committed to it. And I don't think I could do that every year because it's tiring, and resources are finite. Attention is limited. And even though we want to have a limitless legacy, we can't do everything. There's a saying in Spanish that says, "El que mucho abarca poco aprieta." The one who does too many things has... that translation is hard, but the one who does too many things doesn't tighten down on many, which is, you can say yes to a lot, but will you be great in many? And usually that's no. And personally, that's one of my biggest challenges. People always say, dedicate yourself to one thing and become a master at that. And, that's been a question I ask myself about my own legacy constantly. I'm not a master of one. I'm good at many, many things. And I just get bored. And even though my focus has improved, my follow-through has improved, my implementation has improved because I've become more disciplined as I've gotten older, but I'm not that one master of one thing. And you know what? It's okay. Talking with a friend, he says, maybe that is your mastery. Maybe you're just good at a whole bunch of stuff. And that allows you to do and be flexible and be that Swiss Army knife for many things. I don't know. Time will tell. My legacy will tell, I guess. You guys tell me when I'm in that other life. So my word for the year this year is breakthroughs. I'm looking to break through. This is my first podcast recording, so I'm excited to break through. I got my boy here, Christian. Thanks, brother, for helping me out, pushing me along. And great friend, great mentor in this whole process of creating the message. And it's all about that, I think, sometimes. Investing in that message, investing in that value and that impact for others. So what is Limitless Legacy about? Here we're going to talk about how to create, rule, and expand your legacy. And I'll just give you a little bit of background, and then in future episodes we'll dig down deeper. But when we talk about creating your legacy, it's about how you know what you want. It's about how you ideate, how you visualize. Who are we today? Where are we now? And who do we need to become in the process? And the first part about creating is sort of transcending our past and saying, you know what, today's a fresh slate. Today's a brand new 24 hours. These are mine. And it doesn't matter what happened in the first 21 years or 30 years or 45 years or 62 years or even 71 years. We have a chance to start anew today. And so how do we transcend that past so that the past stories, the past drama, the past weight, the past limitations, the past frameworks that we have in our head that's been limiting us in the past, how can we break through from that? So we need to transcend that past in the process of creating our legacy. And in creating our legacy, we need to understand who we want to be and who we need to become in the process. And I know that the words process, who we're becoming, those are cliches in the personal development world. And I've been in that world for over 2.5 decades. I've been an arduous student and practitioner of personal development. But we have to do it. We have to do it. We have to get rid of that past, recognize the value, look at it, recognize it, say thank you for it, and move on. And so creating is something that is part decision. And I love the word decide. We all know it comes from the Latin root to cut away. So when we have our past, we need to recognize, value it, say thank you for creating and forming who we are today, and then moving forward from that. So the first part is creating, transcending that past. The second part is rule your legacy. You need to rule your legacy by dominating the daily grind, becoming battle ready, battle tested, preparing in peacetime, because you never know when life is going to send you that curveball, when you're going to get the rug taken out from under you, when in your business you're going to have a major disruption, when you're going to go through financial stress, when you're going to go through emotional, spiritual, relationship stress, or even physical health challenges. We don't know when that's going to happen. So by ruling our legacy, that's the way we balance our present day today. And that's how we can attend our love with our relationships, our energy, our physical energy, how we have our feet on the ground with a grounded reality, how we can measure our abundance in time and in finances, how we have a connection to our spiritual self or our spiritual relationship, whether it's God or nature or whatever you believe in, and how you don't become all consumed in you. And it's not about your ego, and it's not about the drama that's your process. So I'm all about ruling your legacy because that's something that we need to do day to day. So how do we balance that present in the day to day? And finally, the third part is expand your legacy, where it's not about you anymore. It's more about others and how you serve for generations to come, and how your impact is there to provide not only an example, but also value to others today and tomorrow and for many years to come. So how are you creating? How are you ruling? And how are you expanding today? Personally, I've done this, as I said, for over 2.5 decades, really not with my own process or philosophy. I would say this philosophy has been developed in the last 5-6 years. But whether, like I said, I'm an insatiable student or practitioner of personal development, or I'm coaching others, whether it's in my companies or as students or as my coaching clients are, I would say, and preparing some talking points for this session, I said, where do I spend my time? Where do I spend my intentional time? And I came up with this number, and I think it varies a bit from week to week, but overall it's about a 30-50-20, I would say. 30% of my time is spent in the creating, ideation, visualization, strategizing, meditating, thinking out ideas stage. I would say 50% of my time is in daily disciplines, preparation, getting my mind, body, soul, companies, my people, my family, and my results right. And I would say 20% of my time is executing the expansion of value. And I know I need to up this more, and I understand where I'm at. And, some weeks I'm at 40% on this execution and on this expansion. And other weeks I'm at 10 or 15%. But I would say on an average, I'm at about 20-25%. And, I'm super appreciative of this division of time where I'm at today. I can look back today and say, wow, years ago, I was, probably in a 10 to not even, I wouldn't even sum up 100 between the three because intentionally I wasn't even there mentally. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that the more you get into this, the more, and this is like anything in life, the less ignorant you become, the more responsibility you have. And I think that's what's happened over my 47 years. Last month I turned 47, and I've been on this train, like I said, for a good half a dozen years, really sort of hammering down and trying to get my ideas, my own philosophy in order. And as they say, when it comes to philosophies or life philosophies, there are three. You either don't have one, follow someone else's, or then create your own. And for the most part, most people are in number one. And then the other bracket is in number two. And, I guess I graduated from those first two, and now I'm developing and expanding on my number three. And that's my wish for every single one of you, that philosophy can be clear enough, succinct enough that you can have that philosophy and be able to live it, be an example of it, and share it with others. You know, this intentional time and how we divide it, and it's all about knowing with that clarity what your purpose is. And last quarter, I was spending time with some of my students as a trainer with entrepreneurial students. I'm a trainer for an accelerator, and I spent time talking to them about purpose. And there's the life purpose, and then there's also the professional purpose. And sometimes those two become one, especially at our early stages. But for me, it's become more clear, and I have more clarity on my professional purpose. And I think I got that clarity the last 2 or 3 years. And my professional purpose is legacy impact through leadership, education, and entrepreneurship. So if I can't find a way to create impact through at least 2 of those 3 components, then if not those 3 all at once, then I'm very limited in my motivation, in my alignment, and I probably will not give my time to it. So this podcast is about all 3, because we're talking about leadership, education, and entrepreneurship. And when I speak about leadership, it's about, guiding others when you have a chance to guide. It's to know when it's time to be led, and have that humility. Education, it's about teaching what you know. And I love to teach what I know. I'm very open about that. And I'm an insatiable student. So I always have a thirst for learning. And finally, entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurship. I think entrepreneurs are the ones who solve the world's major problems. And I think that's the best way to do it. So it doesn't matter where you are on your limitless legacy journey. As long as you begin, there will be value for you and for others tomorrow. A line I love from the famous Jim Rohn and the father of personal development is, "Why not you? And why not now?" Man, I love that. Thank you for that, Jim Rohn. So that's our episode for today, guys. I appreciate your time and taking your patience and focus to listen to this. I want to thank you for listening, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes as we continue to tackle the limitless legacy that is available to us all. We just have to decide we are worthy and begin to create, rule, and expand our legacy every day. Take care. We'll see you next time.